Welcome, everybody. Thank you to the board of the co-op and to the membership too for inviting me to facilitate. Okay, I'm Peter Gould. I was asked to begin with a land acknowledgement, and we received a beautiful one from Rich Holshoe, which I'm going to use some of. Here's the way it goes. Long before and ever since this place began to be called Brattleboro, it has been known by the original people here as Wantastigok. We're reminded of this continuity when we look over to the east, where the moon is rising, and we see Mount Wantastigok just over the river. It was here in Brattleboro that the process of colonization began in what we call Vermont. With that realization, Rich, make sure that we understand, comes our commitment to gratitude, to respect, and to trying to build vital place-based relationships among all who dwell here now. To me, this message from Rich is powerful and clear, and it also it reminds me, as I walk through the co-op, which I did just yesterday to prepare for this facilitation, as I walk through, I see foods like corn, popcorn, chocolate, peanuts and tomatoes, and so many other staples. I see sustainable brands like Seventh Generation, and I hear the cooperative principles which we are depend upon. I hear them embraced and talked about. So tonight, I'm suggesting that we do not just acknowledge the land and the existence of the people who lived here and loved the land before colonization. Our acknowledgement tonight for the purpose of this meeting can be so much greater. We understand and we appreciate and we thrive on the food, the social organizations which were already in place here centuries ago, and the loving mutuality and the respect for future generations, which was all belonged here with that land. And that was all in the people's mind who lived here before the colonizers arrived. We are a co-op, but there have been cooperatives here for centuries before us. So with all this in mind and being sensitive to all of that, let's begin our annual meeting, shall we? As your facilitator, I just have a few structural words. So this right now, I have a few structural words. This is it's the welcome. It's the introductory part of the agenda. And it's great to see so many faces here on Zoom screen, but I want you to know that we would love to return again to the times when we see everybody in person at this meeting, and we will. We promise. We're on the Zoom screen right now, and we're happy that we have the ability to see each other in this way. But we will be together again in person. But see, there's a few rules that exist on Zoom, so let's talk about them now. Please write your name clearly in the box if you haven't done that yet. You can add a pronoun choice if you want. And we will want to know these names later. It helps us to keep a census of how many people attended. And also it's the best way for us to follow up on a question, to answer them personally. Speaking of questions, we're here to listen respectfully. We have a full program tonight, a full agenda, but there will be a chance to ask questions. But we'd like for you to put those in the chat, so as not to interrupt the flow that we have in mind for the meeting. We'll read them all. We'll choose a few to answer right here and now, but I promise you that we will track you down and we will answer every question that you post. That's a promise. I think that that's all now for me. I think I've said it all. I will tell you that I'm also the timekeeper. And I will be making sure that everybody sticks to the time stamp, the time signature that we have laid out potentially for this meeting. Now I'll turn it over to the Vice President, Judy Fink.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter. What a lovely welcome. And I welcome you as well. I'm the board vice president. This is I believe my third year as board vice president and my third year doing these introductions. So I feel like I've a little more polished than I was the first year around. And as Peter mentioned, it's unfortunate that we are doing this by Zoom, but it's fortunate that we're doing it. And so that's really exciting to have all of us here together today. And I promise you, even though we're on Zoom and looking at these little screens in front of us, we will come away from this experience very proud of what we can do as a community-owned grocery store. So I don't know if you remember this, but when you registered for the annual meeting, we asked you a few questions about yourselves, and those were the questions that we used to make the graphs that we're going to show you. Once again, if you were part of the meeting for the first 15 informal minutes, you got to see those graphs twice, but we'll look at them again now. But first of all, I need to let you know that we have 219 shareholders registering who have registered to participate this evening. And we think that might be a record in terms of annual meeting participation. So that's great. The first slide shows you about traveling. And most of us have traveled less than 5 miles to shop at the co-op, followed closely by those of us who travel between 10 and 20 miles. So it's definitely a local neighborhood grocery store. In terms of our membership, our longevity, our shareholder membership has grown steadily over the decades, with a significant jump in membership from the year 2000 on. And that's really, really exciting. And you can see there's an even bigger jump in the 2020s. This is the first annual meeting for 92 shareholders. So welcome. We are thrilled that you are joining us, and we are looking forward to seeing you in person next year. So my official role in tonight's meeting is to introduce you to our current board directors and to the candidates who are on this year's ballot. But before I do that, I need to appreciate all of the people who are responsible for tonight. Many of us have become very accustomed to the seamlessness of Zoom meetings, but there's actually a lot of complexity behind the scenes in organizing. And so first of all, I want to thank Peter. Great job for facilitating. It's really great to have you as part of our team. Jen Zashevsky, she is our tech support wizard, and she's behind the scenes, and she's up there on the screen as well. You can see her. Bravo to the BFC annual meeting organizational team. There's Sarah Brennan, Amy Crawford, and Lee Bradford. Many thanks to the VJC Sextet for providing music to open our meeting. Most significantly, our co-op would be just a building without the hard work and the dedication of all of its employees who show up for us every single day. A big shout out to Lee Bradford, who you'll be meeting tonight. And this is just a very exciting evening for all of us. So as you know, the shareholders elect 9 board directors who represent you and work on your behalf to steer this organization. 2 of our directors stepped down in the spring, Nick Dickinson and Yoshi Manali, before their terms were completed. I have the pleasure of introducing you to our current board of 7 of the most dedicated and energetic individuals I have had the pleasure of knowing. Please wave hello to Calvin Dame, me, Denise Glover, John Hatton, Michelle Muhlendijk, Geraldine Wilson, and Johanna Zalnaradis. There we are. Yeah, go team. So one of the most important responsibilities of board directors is board perpetuation, and we rely on a slate of capable and caring individuals to step up and make the commitment to support the co-op's health and growth. Each of us looks to you as potential future board directors. This year, board directors reached out to quite a few shareholders to ask them to consider board service. Many of you were reluctant and were concerned that you just did not have the skills to do a good job. But really, what we've discovered is what's most important is the desire to give back to the BFC. We're all regular people who appreciate how important our co-op is to our community. And we want to make sure it continues to thrive. We hope you might consider running for a board seat in future years. That being said, we have 5 open seats and 7 amazing candidates who have thrown their hats into the ring. A huge thank you to our candidates. Please be sure to read each of their statements of interest. We'll provide a link to the candidate statements in the chat window, and their statements will also appear on your ballot and on the BFC website. Voting begins tonight at 8 o'clock and will close November 23rd at 5 p.m. To vote, click on the link on the front page of the BFC website. I will introduce you to each candidate whose names you will see on your ballot, starting with the 3 board incumbents. Please welcome Calvin Dane, Denise Glover, Michelle Muhlendijk. Those are our 3 incumbents. Gary Fay, Annika Kindler, Daniel Schoner, and Vanessa Vadim. Thank you, thank you, thank you for stepping up. Finally, please welcome my friend, colleague, and remarkable human being, Geraldine Wilson, BFC Board President. Geraldine continues to work tirelessly on behalf of the BFC.